Mike, it kind of seemed like ever since that fumble recovery in the second quarter, your offense really kind of took off and ran away with this one. What do you think kind of changed after that? What was working so well with it?
I'm not sure which fumble recovery, but the biggest thing was just playing together. I thought that we played early on. We played a little too close to the vest. I thought as we opened up, we had more success and they had, more stuff to cover. Then I thought, we did a good job, just combination of run and pass so that they had a tough time teeing off on any one thing. So I thought that part was good.
Obviously, A&M trying to cut it to a one-score game there. What did you see on Forbes coming around to get that block, and then how big was it to have Decam, finish it off there?
Well, he's come close on a lot of them. So we've seen him come close on a lot of them. We just haven't seen him get them, And then I thought Decam did a good job as the ball's in front of him. Some guys will sit there and stumble around and try to put their hands on it while it's on the ground. He waited for that second jump. And then the other thing that Forbes did a nice job of is after blocking it, he went down and got several blocks and got in the way of a number of people trying to get to Decam. So
in that first half, A&M was able to get the ball into the red zone a few times, but you guys got a few stops, forced a couple turnovers. How big was that for you guys, and was that kind of a result of you guys doing a lot of blitzes while you guys were in the red zone?
I thought it was important. A&M's tough. They got some really good players, and everybody says, they're the top recruit guys in the country, all that other stuff. But, the biggest thing is just do your job. You got to play pretty tight, do your job, be pretty sharp. And I thought we were. And then, of course, you try to keep them off balance by playing the extremes. And the extremes are either come after them or look like you're going to come after them and drop everybody.
Coach, Rara had another big game for your receiver, but Justin and Rufus really stepped up at certain times. Just talk about what they gave you today from the receiver spot.
I thought Justin had a good game for kind of a debut, as far as playing that many snaps. I thought Rara was explosive. I mean, the biggest thing we got to get to where we consistently practice and can develop our skills. I mean, we did some good things and some good explosive things against some good explosive people, so I think we got to build on that.
Coach, I noticed even starting in the first quarter, you guys substituted a lot on defense and kept a lot of fresh guys in there, and towards the end of the game, a lot of unknown guys, not unknown, but J.P. Purvis, Sherman Timms, a lot of guys made plays outside of the regular standouts. What do you think about so many guys being able to play on defense today?
Well, A&M's so big and strong, you gotta try to keep people fresh the best you can. And then I think that I thought it was good. I thought they played good. I thought, we're coming down the stretch. We got to do more of it too.
Coach, you dialed up the big shot there on a 75-yard touchdown pass to Rara. What's the decision there behind the play calling? What do you see there, and what made you feel like that was the right opportunity to take the big shot to put him away?
Well, we had other options on the play, but just initially he was pressed, and, Rara's kind of a big target, and so it worked out good.
Coach, it seemed like Will Rogers had a lot of time, and the offensive line was opening up holes for the running backs. How happy were you with their performance today against the great athletes of A&M?
I thought they did good. I thought they played good. I thought, the biggest thing is, and we didn't play perfect, but I thought offensive line-wise, we didn't get rattled, and we, if something didn't go perfect, we'd regroup and just play the next one, which I thought was pretty important.
The touchdown with Dylan late, the score with Rara, how meaningful was it for the offense to keep answering there after A&M started to put some offense together later on?
No, I thought it was huge. I thought it was gigantic. Anytime, you got to keep matching them because, anytime somebody's powerful, you got to try to hold the edge. And then the other thing is it's the type of situation where momentum will bounce back and forth if you're not careful, so you want to hold on to that. And some of that's just the mental toughness of your team, but it certainly helps a lot more if you're making something positive happen.
Coach, after the loss to LSU, you mentioned how this team struggled with some adversity issues, but it seemed like every time that A&M had got something going, whether it was a penalty, big play, y'all responded. Have you kind of seen that shift in practice, or was this kind of a pleasant surprise here today?
It's kind of shifted in practice. We got a highly motivated group that wants to do well and can sometimes press a little bit, because they're very eager to do things well. And so sometimes it's important to stay composed and just have the patience to do your job over and over again until things come your way. And so I think we've gotten better at that.
In a game like this against A&M, how important was it to have guys like Buki, Emmanuel Forbes, Colin Dunkett, some of those experienced guys, really step up and make, big plays in key spots there?
Well, I think it was pretty important. I mean, I think, this thing was cut a little tighter than the score. I mean, anytime you got two pretty explosive teams, I mean, you got to kind of take what you can get, and then the timing of it becomes all the more important. So I do think it probably helped our timing on some key plays.
Coach Dollabill didn't play today, but your offensive line, you allowed 0 sacks. You had Nick Jones over at left tackle. How would you assess your performance of the whole offensive line and just how Nick Jones did over at left tackle?
Nick does a good job. Nick's been doing a good job for a while. I think Nick is sometimes kind of an unsung guy. But I thought our whole offensive unit did good. Or the O-line, and I think that's the most important part of it, O-line and D-line. If you were to say, who played the best today, it'd be our O-line and D-line, D-line in particular.
Steve?
Coach, it appeared just a little undisciplined penalties at times today, some pre-snap stuff. You guys have been pretty good with that this year. What do you kind of attribute that to?
I've debated whether or not I ought to do a press conference on that, and currently I've decided against it. But you saw the same game I did, so and I value your opinion, so go ahead and write your impressions.
Yeah, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle maybe with so many big plays that happened over the course of the game, and it may line up with some of what you've already said. But right before halftime, after you guys scored, keeping them out of the end zone, forcing a turnover there with a few seconds left, just how big was that series to go into the locker room still up 2 scores?
Getting the turnover to keep them out. Yeah, I thought that was huge. I mean, scores right before half always have a bigger impact than they really should. Yeah, they really do. I mean, I remember games where, we're not playing good. Yeah, I remember one in particular, Tech. We weren't playing good at all. We marched down and scored the last play of the half. The other team's still ahead of us by like 17 points. We go in there all screaming, happy, and excited, and can't wait for the second half, and then we hammered them, So, it's funny because those things can have an impact either direction. So, always beware of both positive and negative to scores right before half.
John.
Mike, Brandon let me know that you're now 9-4 against Texas A&M. You've won your last 2 games against the Aggies. Do you feel like you kind of have A&M's number a little bit?
I don't know. I hope so. Well, I thought it was 10-3, but no, they're a great team, and it's always fun to play, and of course, a great legendary team, both on and off the field. So, yeah, it's always fun to play A&M.
Mike, you've joked in the past of you being in that kicking competition. After that run down the sideline to call the timeout, are you competing with Dylan and Jaquavis for those running back spots too?
I don't know, but there was a point where somebody lost track of, something, And, yeah, had to get that, some clarification. Trouble is, I'm not sure I didn't, I'm not sure I didn't blow our momentum, and it required, 3 extra downs to get that score, you know?
Anything else? John?
After the Memphis game, I believe you said that that was like the best that he ever has done at like reading a defense and kind of, knowing his role and all that. Now he's got 19 touchdowns through a couple games. I mean, what did you kind of see from him tonight and overall? And what's impressed you the most about how he's progressed these last couple games?
I think his O-line, his receivers, and then his running backs, of course. I think that, but he's definitely improved. He's gotten better at utilizing the weapons around him. He's got a number of weapons around him. He's gotten better at utilizing them more quickly, more decisively, and more, the timing of when to do what. And, there's kind of a rhythm, sense of timing that goes on sometimes, and where everybody's going to be off balance at some point. He does a better job getting back on balance than maybe he did when he was younger, and some of our players maybe weren't as developed, including him.
Defensively for you guys, do you feel like a lot of what A&M threw at you was kind of what you guys expected, what you prepared for, or were there maybe some wrinkles in there that you thought your guys responded well to?
It was okay. It was pretty similar to what we expected. Consistent with what we saw in film, with one adjustment that we expected them to make. They were different on the two backs than I guess I expected them to be. So when we started running the two-back sets, I think that had an impact and helped us for sure. And that was a little different than we'd seen on film, what they did to it today.